Hey everybody, I'm Dougal Fraser and welcome to part 2 of the manifesting process. So, did you have fun claiming your vision? Did you give yourself permission to dream a bigger dream? Did you select an area of your life that you wanted to focus on? I hope so. And just remember, you can refer back to any of these videos and check in with any part of the process and strengthen and get stronger and clearer as you go. The second part of our process is about taking action. And this is by far the most challenging part for people. Now, we talked earlier in the first video about the vision phase, and I said that I like to start with that part because it's fun, and it is fun. But that tends to be where people get stuck, which is interesting to me. In the safety of our own consciousness, we dream these realities and these ideas and these concepts and these goals and these things that we want to achieve, but we just stay there. And I've done that as well, and I've had to ask myself, why do I stay in the vision phase? Why do we stay in the vision phase? And the answer that comes up for me time and time again is because it's safe. We can do, be, say anything that we want to be, and we don't have to worry about the outside world. We don't have to worry about curveballs. We don't have to worry about doubt. We don't have to worry about the how, the when, the where, the why, all of those things that sort of manifest. And what's interesting to me as an intuitive, and I've had this experience before too, is I've had a reading where someone has confirmed the vision that I've had. Just from, a tarot card spread, they could see the desire manifest in the tarot card spread. Or an astrologer show the potential of something that I really want to achieve. So I would hear that, I would see it reflected back to me, and I'd think, okay, if a stranger is seeing it, if the universe is delivering a message through someone, then it must happen, and I don't have to do anything about it, I can just visualize it. This is the biggest mistake that people make, including myself. I'll give you an example. I've struggled with weight my entire life. I've been 100 pounds overweight. I have family members that are quite overweight, so overweight that they can't walk. So it's a big theme in my life. And as an overweight kid, I would envision walking the beach with a six-pack, stomach and muscles, and this might have been some gay fantasy stuff going on when I was in the closet, but you get the idea. I would envision fitness. I would see it so clearly in my being. It felt true to me. It felt real to me, but I was just visualizing it. I didn't do a single sit-up to achieve the stomach that I was visualizing. I didn't belong to a gym. In fact, I was making choices that were counterintuitive to what I said that I was visualizing, to what I thought I desired. And that was interesting. I had to have a bit of a reality check with myself. In order to create a different physical form, we have to make different choices. Now, if we're talking about the physical body, that could be about food and exercise and the way that we live our life. If it's about finances, it could be about how we manage money, how we handle money. If it's about your career and you visualize a certain position, a certain job, a certain title, a certain lifestyle, if you're in the vision phase, that's great, but now we have to examine your everyday practical choices. Because if you aren't getting closer and closer to your vision, if you aren't getting closer to what it is that you say you want to manifest, then something needs to change. And that's where the action steps come in. Now, I have a belief system that there are big, bold action steps, and then there are simple, everyday, practical action steps to help us achieve our goals and feel more connected. And that's part of what we're going to look at during this video. So as you've sort of selected your dream, as you've claimed your vision, hopefully you made a visual reference of it so you can remind yourself of what you're trying to create. Now we want to look at the how to get there. And that's where action steps come in. One of the things I tell my clients time and time again is that the universe responds to action. I'm going to say that again because it's simple and yet pretty big. The universe responds to action. This is sort of a key element in the difference between my manifesting approach and what you may have done in the past. I know in video 1, the vision phase may not seem like brand new information. You may have heard that before, and that's true. It's a key element to manifesting. The next part, though, is assessing our level of activity, our level of stepping out of our comfort zone to attract and create the dream that we desire. And this is a big one. So what we want to think about right now are the action steps that you can do on a daily basis to achieve your goal. Now here's the tricky part. Behind your vision, there is an emotion. That's right. Behind your vision, there is an emotion. And our brain has this idea of how it wants to feel. And I'll give you an example in my life. When my first book came out, which is called But You Knew That Already, I had a really big book deal. I was the lead title with a really large publisher, and it was very exciting. And the manifestation of the book deal was such an accomplishment to me, I sort of thought that I was finished. I did it. I wrote the book, I had the vision, I took the action steps, and now I'm done, and I just get to sit back and relax and let people work for me. That is not exactly how it played out. So I got into another vision. My next vision was that I wanted to be a New York Times bestselling author. So I claimed that vision. Whew, I claimed it. I wrote it down on paper. I cut out the list of the newspaper and I wrote my name on it. And I really went to town on that vision. I would visualize getting the call from my editor. I'd visualize telling my family. And I started to tape up the visual reminder all over my home. When I woke up in the morning, my alarm clock said, "You are a New York Times bestselling author." When I turned my computer on, the screensaver said, "You are a New York Times bestselling author." I had it on the door before I left the house. I had it on the kitchen, above the kitchen sink. I had it on the mirror when I was brushing my teeth. It was everywhere. Let me remind you, claiming this vision was not a problem for me. I could see it crystal clear. Now, I'm going to tell you that as of today, I am not a New York Times bestselling author. And why is that? I claimed the vision, I wrote it down, I made it physical, I did everything I possibly could do visually within my own imagination. I did not take the action steps to create that. I say this with respect for myself. I became lazy. I had accomplished one goal, I had come up with another goal, and I had released the action steps. I wasn't doing anything to accomplish that. The second thing is that there was a feeling behind that vision that I hadn't connected to. My brain felt like if I had become a New York Times bestselling author, then maybe I would feel good enough. I happened to be a high school dropout. I did not go to college. And oftentimes when I'm in social situations and, people start saying, "Where'd you go to school?" I get a little panicky. David likes to joke with me that, he can hear me from across the room being like, "I didn't go to college, but I wrote a book." That that's my example of I'm good enough. I accomplished something. And to be honest with you, to this day, I still have some insecurity about my education. So when I think of things like my brain thinking, okay, you got a book deal, your book is going to come out, but that's not good enough. You got to go deeper. And then it claims a new vision of why don't you become a New York Times bestselling author and then everything will be okay. I have to go deeper than that. What's the emotion behind that vision? For me, I wanted a sense of accomplishment. I wanted to feel proud. I wanted pride in my life. And so if I could achieve that title, I thought that would make me feel a specific way. Now the truth is, pride, feelings of accomplishment, those were things that I could do in that moment, every day. But my brain was getting ahead of itself. It was creating an illusion of a title, a sort of ego-driven goal, if you will, that would ultimately make me feel better. So now that you've claimed your vision, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is, what we want to look at is what's the emotion behind it. When you think of that new job or that relationship or that financial space or that different health space, how do you feel? How will you feel differently? Now, a lot of times with manifesting, I talked about in the earlier video, we talk about how you'd live differently. If you're being fearless and you're moving in your life and you're accomplishing things, how will you live differently? And that's fun and important. Now we want to know, how will you feel differently? What is the emotion behind this vision? What is the emotion behind this goal? And then the next step is to take action steps to align yourself with that emotion in the present moment.